Okay, next up, we are gonna validate the email and the phone number and add a little spice of color to it. Now, I found two functions out there on the internet. I'm gonna add these to the app.js files. You can copy them over. It's gonna be in the finished files. You can just paste them down here. All right, so this is how it looks like. This is the whole code. Or you can, I guess you can just stop the video a bit and copy paste this over. It's literally, you don't need to learn this really. You can just Google a function that validates email and it's gonna give you this result and this result. But if you wanna stop it and copy it over, feel free. All right, so one for validating email, one for phone. For the text, for the name, really, I just wanted to have, like, if it's longer than 2 characters, it's fine, really. So, okay, so we have that. Now what I want to do is run some validation. So let's go on up here. So after this whole input section right here, let me just make sure I'm placing it correctly. Okay. So input ends here. So 1, 2, 3. All right, so after the 3 curly brackets here, we will do our validation. So all we really need to do is grab all the inputs and add an event listener of input on them. Now, the reason I'm doing this is I want it to turn color. If it's correct, then it fades to a nice bluish color. If it's not, then it fades to a reddish color. I'll pass in the event here like that, because from this event, we can basically extract the text that we're writing on the input. So what I'm gonna do first of all is check if e.target, all right, so the input that I'm clicking on is type text. Now, I only have one that's type text, and that's the name input. All right, the other one's email and the other one's phone. So if the e.target type is text, then what I want to do is get the actual text that the user writes. So I'm going to create a variable called input text and set this equal to e.target value. That's how you can extract the text that the user is typing in. And now all I want to do here is say if input text, the length is bigger than 2, then it's going to be fine and dandy, and it's going to be valid. So here, I basically want to colorize it. Colorize. So I'm just going to make a function separately down here to colorize it. Let's just go here. So we're doing the validation and everything. And here, let's do a colorize function. So all we need to do, it's going to be quite simple, actually. I'll create a function called colorize. And we can pass in basically the color that we want to use and the things that we want to color in. So I want to color in the line and also the placeholder text, like that. And here I want to do a gsap.to. So I want to grab the line and change the stroke color to color. Okay, we're going to pass this down. So we're just going to use arbitrary text here. So actually need the curly brackets there. So stroke to color. And the duration is going to be 0.75. And this needs to go in there as well. What am I doing? There we go. So duration 0.75. Cool. So that's one. So we're coloring in the line. Again, I'm not specifying what color yet. I'm just kind of placing it down here. gsap2 will also grab the placeholder and add a curly bracket here. And the color, again, is going to go to color, whatever we're passing it down, and add the duration as well, 0.75. So again, now when we're invoking this function, we need to pass down all these 3 properties. So what color, which line, and which placeholder. Luckily, we have access to them because we pass it down here. So if the length is bigger than 2, that means that it's all good and dandy and it's correct. So I want to add a nice blue to it. Now I found one, so you can just do this. You can follow along. Colorize, I'm going to call this function. And remember, I need to pass in these 3 parameters. So the color, so I'm going to do this one. Oops. Where is that? This is, oh my God, my struggles with the hashtag. So 6391E8. All right, that's the color. And I can just pass down the line and the placeholder in here. That's it. And else, here I'm going to pass in an else statement. So if the text is not longer than 2, then I want to turn it red. So I'll just modify this to FE. This is a nice red color here, 8C99, and hit save. And that should be it. Let's take a look. So let's head back to Chrome, click on it, and once we start typing, look at that, it turns into a nice red. But once it's correct, it starts fading into a nice blue color. Yay! Easy peasy, wasn't that? So now we can easily just make the rest of these. So we can call this name validation. And after this section here, so here we'll have the email validation. So for this, again, we can pretty much just copy paste this over. So click here where this curly bracket is on the if statement. So right here, just gonna grab this whole thing, copy. Am I putting it correctly? Oh, it needs to be here actually. So after this if statement, let me move this up here. So click here. Yeah, so after this if statement, validate email. We still want to be in this input here. So paste it. All we need to do is change this to email. So if e.target type is email, and then here for the valid email, we'll just change this to valid. We can run that function that we got from the internet, validate email, and we'll just pass in the e.target value in here. Okay. And here for the check, we just need to pass in valid, because this validate email is going to return either true or false. So if we check here, it's going to run the test based on the text we have. And if it's correct, it's going to return true. If it's not, then it's going to return false. So if this is automatically going to work. And then we can do the same for the phone number. So let's click here. Okay, so at the end of this again, validate phone. We can do a nice copy paste. Copy and paste it down here. Hit save. And here we'll just need to replace this with validate phone. And here the type to telephone. And that should be it. Let's hit save. Let's see if that's working. All nice and dandy. Yep, go back here. Click. Type. Okay, so that's not okay. So if I do the valid by ed, and that's correct. Go to the next one. Type, incorrect. As soon as it starts looking like a valid email, it's going to turn nice and blue. Perfect. And same for the phone number. So text is not going to work, but like that. And everything is nice and good. Click back and that's it. Perfect. So there we go. That's it. That's the validation all done. Next up, we're going to head into making this checkbox nice and clickable and then finishing it up with the button. So I'll see you there. It's time to animate the checkboxes. So let's go. It's going to be quite simple, quite straightforward. So let's get into it. Okay, so after all of this colorful situation here, let's just go here at the end of the code and do a checkbox animation fill. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is select that checkbox. So we're going to do document, query selector. We're going to select the checkbox like that, dot checkbox. We're going to create a timeline. I'm going to call this TL2. So gsap.timeline. And this one is going to take a default in. Like that. We're going to do a duration of 0.5, quite fast, and an ease of power to dot ease out. Like that. Hit save. Alrighty, so we have that. Now what we're gonna do is grab the path. So we're gonna say const tick mark path. Now what is this? So the tick mark, which is like this, joop, joop. We're gonna grab the path of it and animate in the line. So the way we do that is grab the path first of all, document, query selector, dot tick mark path, like that. Okay, hit save. And now we can do path length and set this equal to length. Okay, let me make sure I spell that correctly. Tick mark path dot get total length. All right, save. So again, it's this tick mark here. If I pull it up in Figma, I don't think I have it in here actually. But yeah, a tick mark, right? So I guess I can do it here. If I just do a pen tool, so boop, 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 like that, and hit done, make this thicker. So what we're doing is we're grabbing it, and then we're getting the length of it. And with stroke dash array, we can basically animate it. We can do the starting position, so it's all hidden, and then animate the whole length of it all the way out. So you get this like typewriting effect, this handwriting effect on the tick mark. So the way you do that here, make sure you add parentheses at the get total length. So that's going to get the length of the path. And then what we can do is we can set, so we can use gsep.set to basically hide it. Actually, we're going to do this a bit later. Let me just keep this like that. Let's just make the fill in, because I want it to fill in with the blue and then for the tick mark to appear. So let's just grab the checkbox for now, add an event listener, on click. And here I'm going to run an arrow function. I'm going to say if checkbox is checked. Remember, we have that input in there, so we can just run this little check here. So if we click on it and if it's checked, we can do TL2, grab that checkbox fill. This is that empty div that we have that's below it. And I can just move the top of it to 0%. Remember, we moved it down to 100%. So let me go back to the code, to the website, click. So when we click on this, it's gonna, that div is gonna just come all the way on top like that. Okay, click, boom, and it's gonna fill it up. Cool. So that's one done. And let's see what else we need. Okay, so that's one TL. We can do another one from to. So we can get the tick mark path like that. So now we want to animate that in. So the way you do that is from a stroke dash offset. So this is the property that we need to use. And we can set the path length to it. So this is the starting position. And then the second parameter is going to be stroke dash offset back to 0. So if you add the path length to it, it's going to make it completely hidden. And then if you take the dash offset away, it's going to fully animate in. So let's click on that. Now it's still there. So what we need to do is actually set the initial property of this to that stroke dash offset. So you can use gsep set to set some basic styling on a specific element. So here, maybe I can do a gsep.set and I can grab the whole checkbox and add maybe an opacity of 0. Okay, so it's not going to animate anything. It's just going to set a property just like you would set it in style.css. However, in this case, we need it here because I want to set the stroke dash offset to that path length that we have here. So gsep.set. So these are the two properties that we need to set. Ticker, what is it? Tick mark path, comma. I need to set the stroke dash array and stroke dash offset to the path length like that. So dash offset and stroke dash array. So these are the two that we need to set to path length. Okay. If you want to learn more about SVGs and setting these, doing this handwriting effects, Google it. There's only one way of really doing it that I found that's really good, and that's just pretty much just doing this. Set the stroke dash offset and stroke dash array to the length of the SVG, and then animate the offset back to 0. That's essentially it. So let's see if that works. Click on this. I cannot click on this now, so maybe we need to do some pointer event stuff, but looks like it's still not animating in, unfortunately. So let's see what's wrong with this. It might be that, let's see, why is it not doing it? Let's see if we have any errors, just to be sure. Console. So it says, so GSAP actually has a plugin to do this kind of handwriting animation, but you have to pay for it, unfortunately. So that's why we're kind of experimenting here to kind of try to do it vanilla style without paying for it. But yeah, if you really want it, there's an extension for it here in GSAP that you can pay for it, and it's like one line of code. But no, we're not doing it that way. So let me make sure everything is correct. So let's look here. Let's go all the way to the top. So we have our checkbox. Grab the checkbox. We have GSAP timeline defaults. That's correct. That should be fine. Tick mark path here. Query selector to the tick mark path. Let's see if that's correct in the HTML. So tick mark. There we go. So tick mark. And where's the path of this? So here's the path. This one has elastic line on it, so I'm not sure that's actually correct. Elastic line. It should still work because we're grabbing the path. So that should be okay. Let me just make sure here. Yeah, that should still be fine. Sometimes you really don't know what's messing it up, unfortunately, and you have to go through it line by line. But hey, nobody's perfect. This is how we learn. So tick mark, that should be fine. Tick mark, path. Okay, that's good. Let's make sure everything else in the JavaScript is correct. Tick mark path, so we get the tick mark path, the get total length. So let's see if this returns us actually the length, path length. Just console log that out. And it does. We have 21, so that works. Perfect. So let's get rid of this. So it might be here actually that we messed it up. Yeah, so stroke dash array here needs to be lowercase. So make sure you get that correctly. Stroke dash array is lowercase and hit save. Let's see if that fixes it. Oop, no errors. Click. Now we need to fix this pointer events issue because it's still messing it up for us. So let me zoom in, click, and look at that. We have the nice fill going on. Perfect. So now let's also revert it. So you have to kind of go on the edge here. So that's the issue, that we can only click on this border for it to work, but that's fine. We're going to fix it in just a bit. Okay, so that's done. Now here, after this statement here, else, I can add an else and just revert everything back. So we can do TL2.2. We can grab the checkbox fill, add a comma, and do a top 100%. All right, so we're reverting back the fill, and also TL from 2, we're reverting back that animation. Tick mark path, comma, whoops. So this, let's make sure not to add this in a curly bracket. Tick mark path, comma, stroke, dash offset. Let me grab that. From 0 back to the length of it. Stroke, dash offset to the path length. All right, so just a reverse. Let's also make this a bit faster. So I'm going to do 50% here, smaller than 50%. I'm also going to do it up here. So let's see. comma. Oops, it needs to be out here, comma, 50%, and hit save. Okay, let's see. Click, and boom, we have that nice animation, and it also goes back the other way. How cool is that? I also want to make this blue, so once this is clicked, make sure this turns blue as well. So here we'll do another TL2. We'll grab the checkbox label, add a comma. We'll change the color over to that nice, lovely blue. Color, so it's going to be 6391E8. Okay? And I want this to happen at the same time. So I'm going to add a comma and a smaller than sign. I'm going to copy this over and add it to the else statement here. So right after this whole thing, paste it there and just change the color to that gray. So C5, C5, C5. And that's it. Hit save. Let's take a look now. Click, and look at that. Turns blue. How nice is that? Awesome. Now the only thing left that I want to do is I want to be able to click on this just kind of in this area. Because right now I have to click on that border. So let's go and inspect our CSS and see what we can do. Let's head back here to style.css. Go over where we have all of our checkbox things going on. So it's here. So padding left. And then we have the width. We have overflow hidden there. We have our check marks going on. We have our checkbox fill. And our tick mark. Okay. Interesting. Let's see. Let me go back here a little bit and inspect this just so we're all clear of what's going on. Let me go over here and zoom in. Let me go out of this responsive mode. So click off of this. Just zoom in. So let's see what's selectable. So I have the cursor over to whatever is selectable here. So I believe that's the actual input. So let's see if we go on the input and add a z index of 10. Let's see if that works. There we go. It does work. So let's just add a z index to the input and that should fix our issue. Let's go here, checkbox. So I believe this is the one, z index 3. Okay, just to make sure it's always on top. And there we go. Look at that. Let me do a refresh. Doop, doop. Doop, doop. Awesome. So let me go back here a little bit to the app.js. And let me also look at something here very quickly. So we have our timeline. Duration is 0.5. That's totally fine. Yeah, everything else should be okay. Let's see why this doesn't animate. Actually, this label is giving us a bit of trouble here. It doesn't look like it's animating out actually. It animates in, it just instantly disappears. So let's see why that happens. So checkbox label here. Oh, it needs to be TL2, TL2. I messed that one up. So make sure you update everything to TL2 here and hit save. It's kind of being a little bit buggy, and now it's not anymore. Nice and smooth. That's how we like it. All right, that's going to be it, the checkbox. And we're going to finish off with the character and submitting the form. So I'll see you there. Okay, let's bring in our little character now. So let's head over to our HTML. Let's go over here. Hey, where is it? Where is my monitor? I cannot find it. Okay, so here. We're going to copy this whole thing over. So just Command Alt, Control, grab it. We're going to put it right here inside the form. So let's see where the form is here. So still inside the form, right there. and hit save. Now this is a huge one. So just go up here where it says SVG right here and just collapse it here. So you can hit this arrow and then it's nice and clean. All right, but it's there. Cool. Okay, so let's take a look now if we can see him. Let's head over here. There he is, the big boy. Now we want to add a position absolute and just put him here in the corner and then run some animations on him. So let's go to our style.css and just make a little thing here for him. So and here we go. Right here. That's a good spot. Okay, it's going to be very simple. Just do a hashtag again. I'm going to mess this up again. Just watch. Hey, got it. Character. So it has an ID of character on it, a position of absolute. And we're going to transform and just scale him down slightly to 0.7 because he's gigantic. Hit save. And then we're going to place him on the bottom left corner. So bottom left 0, 0. Let's take a look. Now he gets put here because it's positioned absolute to the body. So we have to make sure that we specify that it should be relative to the form. So all we need to do is go to the form right here and add a position relative. And that should be it. Ugh. There we go. And I'm just making sure I'm still recording. And there he is. Yay, let's go. So that's cool. Now again, based on scalings and transforms, I wanted to start scaling from the bottom here. So he goes all the way down here. So let's go down again to the character. I'll do a transform origin to the bottom. All right, there we go. So now it touches the corner there. Cool. So now depends again on your monitor and everything. This worked for me. A translate of 0% and 30%. Just kind of mess around with this and see kind of the position that you like. If he's still too large on your screen, feel free to scale him down a little bit like that. Just whatever, just do whatever to make it look okay. Now, when I made this SVG, I added an ID to the hand, to the eyes, and a few others. So we can just easily animate that. So let's go over to app.js. Again, I'm going to show you at the end how I added that. It's super simple. So let's just head over to Chrome for now. The code actually, not that. And let's go over to our app.js and do a little movement on him. So I want to animate his eyes a little bit. I don't know, just a little bit of fun. Okay. Let me see what I have here. So let's just do this. GSAP, so animating character. Okay, GSAP, we'll do GSAP from 2. I'll grab his eyes. So the way I can do that is with eye like this. That's the ID I added to it. I'm just gonna add a scale Y, so vertically from 1 to scale Y 0.3. Just scale it down kind of like he's blinking. And then we'll do a repeat of -1. So it basically loops indefinitely. And a yo-yo true is going to make it open and close and open and close and just go back and forth. So let's see. Do a refresh on this. It doesn't seem to work. Let's see if we inspect the element, if we have any errors, and we do. So it says I not found, GSAP target not found. So it doesn't find the eyes. Let's go here and look it up. Left shadow, eye shadow. Should be somewhere in here. It might be actually a class. No. It's right eye and left eye. I'm just going to remove this and just keep eye like that and hit save. Okay, let's do another refresh. Zoom in. It says eye is still not found. Oh, so it doesn't matter if I modify it here because we just added it in the index HTML. So I actually need to modify it from here. So let's go down here, find those damn eyes and update it correctly. Okay, here we go. Let's get rid of that. Just keep I. I guess if you want to animate it independently, you can do that. So there we go. It looks quite weird because of that transform origin again. So we can add a transform origin to the center now. So it scales from up and down as well. Right now it just scales from the bottom towards the top. So let's go here and we can again use that set, gsap.set, to set a property basically. So let's do hashtag, we'll grab the eye again and we'll set the transform origin to the center. I hit save. And there we go. So now it does it in the middle like that. That's cool. I also want to add a delay to this so he doesn't blink like he's going nuts and he smoked crack cocaine. So we can add a repeat delay here. So there's a specific delay for repeat. I'll just do 0.5. And I'll also add an easing of power to the ease out. That should be it. That should be our eyes animating in and out. So there we go. Boom, boom. Mess around with this. It's quite fun to just be silly. I'm going to go back here to the index HTML and also get his eyebrows because I believe I selected those as well. And I believe it's right eyebrow and left eyebrow, so I'm going to quickly modify it. Again, make sure you do this in the index.html. So just scroll till you find an ID. Here we go, with left eyebrow and right eyebrow. So just remove it, just keep it eyebrow. And after this from to, just go down here at the bottom, do gsap from to. I don't know, I just moved them up a little bit. I thought that looked quite cool. just experiment with it, see what you like. I'm gonna basically copy over everything here. Just do y -1 and then I'll do the repeat again to -1. I'll do the yo-yo to true and repeat delay 0.5 and ease power to the ease out. And that should be it. Let's see. As you can see, his eyebrows just slightly move up and down. So that's cute. And that's going to be it. All right. So now all we have left to do is click join. And when we click join, this form is going to animate out and a nice text is going to pop up and our little guy is going to wave to us. So that's going to be left for the final section. So I'll see you there. Okay, let's finish up our little character here and our form submission. So let's go back to the code here. We need to add a little bit of HTML for that final message when the form gets submitted. So let me scroll up here and collapse this character for us. So, because we don't need it anymore for now. Just close up this SVG here. And what we're gonna do is after him here, still in the form, we'll add a .submitted class. In here, I'll just add a little message saying thanks for submitting. Like that. I'll add a little break. Like that. I'll say you'll hear from us soon. And then you can add a little emoji. Let me copy it over from here. I use the hand clap emoji because I'm cool. I know that doesn't make me cool. Let me alone. Okay, hit save. So now let's add a bit of styling. So I basically want to add it in the middle of our screen. It's gonna be super simple. Just add a position absolute to it, literally, and just center it. So .submitted. We'll do a position absolute. We'll do a left 50. And we'll do a top 50. Okay. Do a color of that gray. So 777474. Do a font size of 1 rem. Pointer events none, because I don't want to be able to click on it. We'll align the text. I don't think I need to align the text. Yeah, let's do a text align, center, and let's take a look on how it looks. So there it is. I just need to add a transform translate to put it in the center. Transform, translate, minus 50% and minus 50%. That should drop it straight in the middle. Now we can do gsap set opacity 0, or we can just do opacity 0 here to hide it. Awesome. So we got that going. That's perfect. And now we can start animating it. Woo. So let's go back here. Go to app.js. So what I want to do can be super simple. So when we click on that button, so when we click on the submit button, let's grab that. Submit button, const button equal to document.query selector. We'll grab the button, and then we'll create another timeline. So we're gonna call this TL3. We're gonna do gsap.timeline, curly brackets. I'm gonna set the defaults here. I'm gonna do duration 0.75 and an ease of power to the ease out, and hit save. Okay. All right. And then we're going to grab the button to add event listener. So when we click on it, we'll fade out the form or make the form a bit smaller. So, and then we're going to pop in that message. So what I'm going to do is say e.prevent default here. And the reason why I want to do this is because when we click on the join button, the page refreshes, which is going to ruin our animation. So this basically stops the page from refreshing. And then we're going to do TL3 2. I'm going to grab the contact right, comma, contact left. So you can grab both of them like this. It's totally fine. I'm going to move the Y down to 30 and then just fade it out a little bit. So I'm going to add the opacity 0, and I'm also going to remove the pointer events. So pointer events, I'm going to set it to none. So nothing is clickable anymore. Let's take a look. Click that, and it has a nice fade out to it. Okay, and after that fades out, I want to pop that text back in. I also want to scale it down slightly. So I'm going to grab the form and do a scale of 0.8 on it. Let's see how that looks like. Whoop, like that. But I want it to happen at the same time. So I can add a comma and a smaller than symbol. And now these two are going to run at the same time. Whoop, that looks quite cool. And finally, what I want to do is TL3.from2, grab that submitted that we just made, and bring up the opacity of it. Opacity 0 to opacity 1. And we can actually do a little movement to this as well. So we're moving it down here, and here we can move it up. So from 30 to 0, Y0, and hit save. Let's see. Doop, so that moves down, and that slowly pops back up. That's really cool. All right, there we go. And I guess if you want to add a little bit more to here, I did select the hand with the SVG. So if you want to add the hand wave, all you need to do is say gsap from 2. I added a ID of hand and just did a bit of rotation to it. Rotation from 0 and Y0 to rotation minus 10, Y2, and a little elastic effect, ease elastic. So it goes basically back and forth, 3 and 0.3. That's the one I found that looks really nice. And then set the duration to it so it's a bit longer and a bit of a delay to it of 1 second. Okay? Because we're basically moving it from rotation 0 to minus 10. And then if there's a strong elastic one here, it's going to whoop, 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 kind of make it look like a hand wave. There we go. That's quite cool. Now the transform origin is a bit weird because I think it does it from the center. So we can set it to the left side. gsap.set. We can grab the hand and do a transform origin to the left side. Oops. Make sure you add your curly brackets, transform origin to left, and hit save. Doop, doop. And there we go. We have our nice little wave. So there we go. How fun is that? That's pretty cool, isn't it? Okay, so that's pretty much it for this one. In the next episode, which is going to be our final one, I'm just going to show you quickly how I put the SVG together and make it a bit more mobile friendly as well. So I'll see you there. Okay, let's make this a bit more mobile friendly, and then we are done. Hope you loved this project because I really liked it. Okay, let's pull this up here. I'll do a refresh and just open the inspect up like that. Let's kind of squeeze it in here like that. Okay, so one thing we're gonna do is, I guess we could just click on this and that'll be fine. So then we don't need to expand this. Oh, my browser is being so silly. Okay, I'll just keep it like that if that's okay with you. Okay, just some simple styling. Let's go over to style.css, open it up here. We can add a media screen. Where's the at symbol? There we go, at media. Again, you can add more if you want to make it really nice. I'm just going to give you a quick example here on how we can modify this. So I'll do 812 pixels. That should be okay. I'll just grab the form and increase the size of it. So width, I'll do 90 VW, and min height, just expand it a bit more because we're on a small screen. And hit save. Let's see. Go back here. There we go. So it's much bigger now. Now what I want to do is make this a column, because right now it's flex row. So we have two sections. I just want to make it one. So let's go back here and make it a row column. Damn. Flex direction column. And I'll also change the padding a little bit, add more padding to the top and less padding on the left and right. There we go. Much nicer. Cool. Is there anything else we really need here? I guess you can add another one because this is still quite big. It would be something like that, really. Let me just do, I actually did the iPhone version. I optimized it for that. So that was iPhone, was it this one? Yeah, iPhone 10. Again, feel free to do many more if you really want to. I'll just do it quickly here. I'll scale down our character a little bit. Character, transform, scale, do 0.4. and add that translate back to it. Make sure you do this 0% and 30%. Whatever you had up there, just copy paste it and just change the scale of it. There we go, much smaller, much nicer. Oh, that's looking quite okay. I guess this elastic band is the last thing that we need to fix because it's quite large right now. So let's see here on the path. If we just add a width, let's see if this works. 100 pixels, does that change it? I don't think width actually works on the path here, unfortunately. So let's see, if I do 100%, will that stretch it out to the size of it? No, it doesn't. That's a shame. What about the SVG? Let's grab the SVG here and add a width of 100% to it. There we go, that's what we need to do. So let's head over to here. We'll grab that SVG. I'm not sure what it's called. Let's go take a look. Line SVG. So line SVG and add a width of 100%. And there we go. Now it's all nice and clean. So there we go. That's a quick mobile optimization there for you. Again, not really focused on that in this course, but I still wanted to add it to make it look nice. Okay, so let me show you how I did the character really quickly before I go. So I just imported it in Figma. So you got imported in, just searched one up on Google, any character, just make sure it's SVG. And then I double clicked on him. I found his arm, just double clicked and just grabbed all the portions holding down Shift. So this part and this part, it's going to be highlighted there. And then move it around to see what I have selected. So I just selected everything, group them together. So group, and then I just named it hand here. And then when I exported it, so export, clicked on the three dots here. When you go over to make sure it's SVG, and do include ID attribute. And that's it. That's all you need to do. And then you can select it in JavaScript just fine and start animating it with GSAP. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed this project. Thank you so much for watching. Let's move on to more fun stuff.